झूम आहे का काय?
फेसबुक लाईव्ह.
झूम काय असतं ते?
झूम मीटिंग प्लॅटफॉर्म आहे सर.
उभं करू नको का? उभं कशाला करतोस? त्याचे दिसत नाही का ते?
असं तिकडे चेक करतो.
लाईव्ह चालू आहे का बघ?
हे बघ किती झालेत बघ. 1,34,000.
ते पेज आहे सर. लाईव्ह चालू आहे.
लाईव्ह चालू आहे. आलेले आहेत. 2 लाईव्ह आलेले आहेत. 3 आले. 3 आले.
ठीक आहे, वाढतील हळूहळू ना.
येस. 4 झाले.
आणि आम्ही कॅमेऱ्याकडे बघून बोलायचं.
हां इकडे.
तुझं हे आवडते मला याच्यावर ॲप घेऊन दे. ॲक्च्युली वी आर लाईव्ह सो शॅल वी स्टार्ट. 1 minute to go.
तुला क्वेश्चन दिसणार नाही.
फोन सायलेंट वर.
फ्लाईट मोड.
थोडा अजून क्लोज
मी
करू.
सायलेंट मोडवर केलं.
नाही व्हायब्रेट.
क्लोज करू का?
हां नाही माझं व्हायब्रेट.
नाही.
फ्लाईट मोडवर क्लिक करू का? आला नाही तरी चालेल.
आपण लाईव्ह थांबलो सर.
आवाज जातोय का खरं?
थोडंसं का ते डिले होतंय तिकडून.
रिलीला नेहमी हे होतं सर.
आमचा आवाज आत्ता जातोय का नाही?
हो जातो
चालू आहे. सो डोर क्लोज करावा लागेल. साऊंडचा.
त्याचा फोटो नाही.
नाही ते
पॉज.
लॅगिंग बिहाइंड.
नाही अजून वरच बघतोय मी.
उलट दिसतंय.
कॅमेरा
Mirror image.
मिरर इमेज.
चालू आहे.
खूपच लॅगिंग दिली इकडे.
लाईव्हमध्ये तसं होतं नेहमी. इट्स ऑलवेज लाईक 1.5 मिनिटचा रिले.
Minute.
हो.
ठीक आहे चालू.
हॅलो या केवी. हॅलो या केवी. Okay. We have started the show. Just a minute. We are live.
I can see that, but I don't see you coming to the discussion.
Okay, coming over. Bye. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
We are glad to be here in the third part of this webinar series started by Astro Volunteers. As you know, Astro Volunteer is a global movement of volunteers across the globe to help humanity, to serve humanity. And today, during this tough times, we have started a series where we'll be speaking about COVID-19 and its implication through various aspects. So today we have a very special topic to discuss, that impact of COVID-19 in elderlies. How can we look after our elderlies during COVID-19 infection time? So we have an elite panelist within us. So this is Astro Aadhaar's panel, Dr. Ajay Kenny.
नमस्कार.
He is our chief CMS as well as one of an eminent physician across the particular district and state of Maharashtra. Dr. Ullas Damle, he is the MD of Astro Aadhaar Hospital as well as an eminent obstetrician and gynecologist, special skills in high-risk pregnancies. As well as we have Dr. Shumagi Mahajan, who is intensivist as well as she has a special degree in geriatric care. She has a postgraduate specialization in geriatric care and apt panelist to have this discussion. To start with, we would like to start the session with you, sir. First of all, we all know, every viewer is knowing that what is particularly COVID, Corona, symptoms, how does it originate, how does this actually spreads. But can you still take us through this basics of COVID and Corona?
Coronavirus is a virus, not bacteria. It is, in technical terms, we can say that it is a single-stranded RNA virus. It is a coronavirus which are similar to many of the influenza viruses which we face. This virus first was seen in Wuhan of China, and over the time it has spread from the droplet infections, from the fomites, and now it has caused a pandemic. The reason why it has caused pandemic is not that it is very virulent, but it is very contagious. The meaning is it can spread very fast, but it need not be causing very severe critical illness.
Moving over. So typically, the question that generally comes to everyone's mind is who are the most affected people? Like who can be the most affected age group or gender or ethnicity for that matter? Who can be a victim of this particular disease?
See, if you see, anybody can be affected by this virus. It's sorry to say, but nobody is at present protected from this virus. But it is seen that those people who are having little less immunity or their immunity is decreasing, like older people, more than 65 years of age, and those individuals who are having comorbid conditions like diabetes, kidney disease, then heart diseases, then lung diseases like COPD, then asthma, then some people they are taking chemotherapy for cancers, HIV infected people. These people are, because of their low immunity, they are more prone to develop serious disease. By meaning to this serious means if you see 85 to 90% of the patients, they are having mild disease. Only 5 to 10% people, they are coming across with severe illness which requires admission in the ICU, as well as some people may require ventilator. But if you see 85% of the patients, they are having mild disease, and this mild disease is like any other upper respiratory tract infection like flu or cold. They may get fever, they may get cough, sometimes they may get shortness of breath. But there are few warning signs, warning symptoms. If they are present, people should be worried about. Like if they start getting more and more breathlessness, if they get severe pressing sensation over the chest, or if they get confusion, if they are unable to rise from the bed, or if they find that their lips or face are blue. These are the warning symptoms, and people, especially elderly people with comorbid condition, should take help of medical services.
In fact, there was exactly same question that came from Haripriya. Hey Haripriya, we saw your question. The question was, is there any particular age group that is affected the most? As answered by Dr. Kenny, geriatric population is the one.
More than 60 to 65 years of
65 years old.
But young people are also getting this
Infection.
Probably their immunity is also low. So that's why young people are also getting it.
Coming to Mahajan ma'am, based on the same question of Haripriya which she posed, what do you define it as like a geriatric age group? Which age group is the one which we cross and label it as a geriatric one?
Actually, geriatric population is classified as the people above 60 years of age in our country. But some countries define it as more than 65 and more than 65 or 60 in some countries. So up to 75 they are considered as young old, 75 to 85 are old, and more than 85 are very old. So these are the subgroups of this geriatric population, and they are considered as high risk patients. But one thing is there, amongst these also, they are grouped as those without comorbidities and those with comorbidities. So those without any comorbidities are also at risk. Now the question is why they are at risk. Now we are well versed with the word as the immunity. So this is the immunity. So basically, this is the immunity is the protective mechanism of the body. I can say in simple words. For few infections, it is natural immunity which the person gets by its birth, and some other immunity is acquired immunity when the person comes across the infection or he faces the infection. So this type of immunity is acquired immunity when you are not come across that type of infection. In geriatric population, what happens is this is the immune response which has to be generated by the body as one faces that infection, and this mechanism has impaired. They are not immunodeficient. There is delayed immune response. That means this response is slow and inadequate. That's why they are more prone for this type of infections, and they are at high risk.
Just to simplify what she said, and just for all the viewers to understand, that what she meant is that a younger guy, 35 years of age, who actually is exposed to corona, gets into this COVID phase, and then his recovery will be shorter compared to a 65-year-old man with comorbid condition. Just for all the viewers to simplify, comorbid conditions are the existing conditions in the human.
No, comorbid conditions are not existing in the human,
Okay.
but they are associated conditions. That means there can be hypertension, there can be diabetes, the person can be having steroids,
Okay.
or there may be some underlying disease, CKD can be there.
Mhm.
So in these conditions, already the response is delayed and inadequate to fight that infection, and this is called as immunosenescence. So immune system is also becoming senile, and for that matter, all elderly people above 60 and 65, they are more prone for infections, more prone for especially this type of infection, especially respiratory infections, or when there is underlying pulmonary disease. And if they are also associated with these comorbid conditions, then again their resistance power is less.
Okay. So coming back to Dr. Kenny sir, there is a question now what she has very aptly mentioned. Suppose for an example, any elderly is diagnosed with this particular disease. So primarily, as they say, there is no treatment defined as per the protocol. So what would be the treatment, what would be the observation time, and how would be a recovery time look like?
There is no vaccine at present to prevent this disease to occur. If any person above the age of 60 or 65 years gets mild or severe attack, these two groups should have two different approaches. Say, if one person gets mild fever, cough, running nose, and body ache, at present, because we are in lockdown, first they should consult the health care providers or the doctors to whom they are following before. They can talk on the phone and they can get some advice how to protect themselves.
Like sir, I
Now
would
that-
like to interrupt here. There is a really relevant question here based on what you are speaking. Amit Poddar is asking that, hi there, my dad is 77-year-old. I know that he is vulnerable. How do I tackle his anxiety? That means his dad is very anxious about this. And there is a similar question from Kirti also. Similar age group, should they even step out or think of stepping out?
The most important thing is you have to protect yourself before getting exposed. So stay home is the main thing you should follow. If you are getting this fever and cough, it may not be COVID-19. It may be any influenza or any other viral diseases which can be tackled at home. Even COVID-19 infection in the milder form can be treated at home. There is no antibiotic or antiviral required. There is no vaccine. It is just supportive treatment, like you can take paracetamol for fever. You can take some cough syrup with the consultation of your doctor, and you can take some antihistaminic if you are having running nose or something like that. If your doctor knows that you are having some diseases like diabetes, hypertension, kidney disease, or any other drug which can be having some relation or some interaction with these drugs, it is better to consult your doctor. Now, before going to the next thing, I think we have to tackle the stress. See here, unless the stress of yourself, or if you are taking care of your loved ones or the community, if you can cope up this stress, everybody will become stronger. There is a fear and anxiety among all the people about this virus and its illness. If there are warning signs, then and then only you step out of your house. Otherwise, this disease can be managed at home. The person who is having this illness or any upper respiratory tract and fever should be isolated at home, and he should be taken care by proper manner. Another thing is that if we are suspecting that your patient or your parents are having this disease, it is better that you people also should take precautions so that the other people from the family should not get this disease. It doesn't mean that you should keep that person locked in one room, but you can take care by keeping distance, social distance, more than 6 feet. That is enough so that the other people from home will not get this infection. He can be served the food in his room. He can be given tablets, everything at one place in his room. So these parents, elderly parents, if they are getting this disease, milder form can treat at home, little severe form take help of hospitals or the doctors.
Actually, there are a lot of very interesting perspectives people are having. People are finding this discussion really interesting, and the questions are also getting very interesting. So, without sticking to our common questions about COVID, we will just answer the queries raised by our viewers. So, Poonam Rao has asked a question. I'll pose it to Damle sir. That she has said that is it okay to deliver basic groceries to elder people? That means we are in a state of lockdown, so only essential items in which one is grocery. So elders can go out and take a grocery, and she says that because they may be at a risk with touching an object which may have gotten touched by somebody else. So how safe it is for elderly to go and pick up the groceries?
No. Frankly speaking, the answer for elderly people is no.
Poonam, I hope you are listening this.
They should not get out of the home. They should get help of the support system in the form of their children or workers. But elderly people should avoid going out of the home.
Okay. So there is a similar question by Payal Bihani. What she has written, which is on parallel lines to this, is what can older people do to build their immunity now? So my question, I'll modulate this question. So what is the role of immunity for this particular fighting this COVID-19 infection? And if geriatric is at the risk factor, can they start building their immunity now? Is it the time?
See, building the immunity is whatever immunity they have to maintain it. They must not get exposed to any challenge to the immunity by getting outside.
Okay, sir.
And one more thing, if possible, sort of building the immunity and keeping themselves fit. They can do some yogasana, some pranayama, something which certainly will not make any harm to them. But they need not take any walk outside to keep themselves fit. They need not try any unproved medicines to improve their immunity.
Like on the same line, she's asking that vitamin C, is it a right time for elderly to start consuming vitamin C?
It may help, it may not help.
I think we
But
should look into
I will add to that. Damle sir has said about exercises and eat healthy food. You have to maintain the immunity you are having. See, there is nothing which can improve the immunity. The best way to prevent this disease is not to get exposed to this disease. Stay at home, don't get exposed. I would like to add one more thing. Good, nice sleep also improves your immunity, because there are scientific data which say that the cells which kill these viruses, T cells, cytotoxic T cells, their function is better in sleep because some function is going on inside and they can kill this bacteria, viruses better during sleep. So should have a nice sleep, and that sleep will also help to alleviate your stress. Stress management is also very important.
Actually, Umesh has asked a very similar question. Umesh Magar, your question was towards this, that advise simple ways to increase our immunity towards corona. I think Dr. Kenny has answered that for you. And taking one question, ma'am, which is a question that everybody is talking about right now. This question once again is coming in the form of like, is it okay to administer hydroxychloroquine if we feel that elders are catching an infection? What would you suggest as an intensivist?
See, it is not proved. Isn't it, sir? HCQ is not proved medicine.
The thing
but
is-
thing is, yes, sir.
The thing is, it is neither immunity against the disease or nor treatment against the disease. What is proved is that if hydroxychloroquine in advised doses, if it is taken by the at-risk population, like hospital or healthcare worker, then the complication rate, the more severe form of the disease will be a bit reduced. This is not the treatment, but helps to reduce the risk of severe disease.
So I want to urge to every listener that there is no said or defined treatment. I hope the panelists agree to that.
Yes.
So there are questions. I would love to come back to you with a question, ma'am. Is that there is a very relevant question by Payal Bihani. Payal, your question was very apt and very correct in the flow of the event. The question is, should people limit or avoid routine trips to doctor office during this emergency?
Yes, if it is routine, if the person is asymptomatic, if he is not having any this respiratory symptom, or he is just for routine checkup, there is no need to go to hospital. You can ask your symptoms or whatever queries on phone, and you be at home. Don't travel unnecessary. And one more thing here I want to say, that there is changing face of disease in elderly, because these are the symptoms mentioned, that there may be fever, there may be cough, shortness of breath, etc., etc. But these symptoms may not be there in elderly people, because there is altered modulated response. The temperature may not be there, and the presentation of the disease will be like that. The person is feeling weak, not eating very well, reduced appetite, just fatigue, and people around him, the other relatives, as well as that person, he may think that it is just because of the old age. So they will allow him to do that.
Correct.
But one thing is most important, that if the person who is active, suddenly if there is change in his activity, then think that it is something different.
Okay.
So
I
which
would like to add one thing here. For routine visits and routine medications, I think the elderly people should keep the stock of their routine medicines by hand. They should plan, because for next 1 month or 2 months, they may not be able to go out of their house. So they should plan for arranging their medications at home.
Yes, and if they can give it at home delivery
And
also.
your blood pressure and heart rate can be given to the doctor on phone, because there are many apps available which can measure your blood pressure and your oxygen levels and your heart rate. There are many machines, small machines are available. Even glucometers are there. They can check their glucose on the glucometer, and they can talk to the doctor on phone or email.
Yes.
Like there has been a recent pandemic of COVID, as well as there is a pandemic of shortage of masks and sanitizers. So people are going crazy about sanitizers and masks. So people nowadays don't know what are exact routine things which are done by mask. What does its exact role in healthcare providers or in common man? So as a common man who is in the home, who just occasionally goes out to buy food or some essentials or medicines, does that man or a woman or a child always have to wear a mask? I'll pose this question, Dr. Kenny.
No, it is not necessary that those people especially elderly people who are staying at home should wear mask. Not at all. If they are going out for purchasing some groceries or something, they should follow social distancing. It is not necessary that if they are wearing mask, that they are protected from the disease. There is no need to wear any mask, even N95, by these individuals who are mostly staying at home. The masks are required mainly for healthcare workers like doctors, nurses, who are taking care of the patients who are having this upper respiratory tract infection and symptoms, and as well as if you are sick, if you are having fever, cough, then you should wear a mask so that you will not spread the disease to others. All the people who are taking care of these patients in the hospital should wear a mask. But if you are going out alone and if you are following hand washing and keeping social distancing, you should not wear mask.
That's a very, very informative bit. I'm sure everybody would particularly observe this particular suggestion. Sir, I would like to have one question for you. This question is raised by Vidya Patil. She has a very nice question, very well articulated question. Vidya, your question is, nowadays there are many people having same symptoms as that of COVID's presentation and signs and symptoms, the same thing. And how to differentiate between those symptoms and COVID and anxiety related to it. So any senior who has those even a little bit of cough, he is really worried. What's your take on this, sir?
See, we have to understand that in most of the or majority of cases, COVID-19 disease is like any other influenza.
Right.
To be specific, even up to 85% of cases. Like some upper respiratory infection, then sometimes cough, a mild fever or throat pain, etc. Now, in all these infections, the symptomatic treatment like gargles, taking hot water, or some hot water gargles, betadine gargle will be useful. They need not go to diagnose whether this is COVID or non-COVID influenza or common cold.
Correct.
If symptoms go more than that, they get very much shortness of breath, the tightness in chest, high degree fever, they should consult, and a doctor will take care about whether it is COVID or common influenza. They need not worry about that.
But if they are exposed to such type of patients, if they travel abroad, if they are having any contact with COVID positive patients, and if they are getting symptoms, they should get screened for COVID.
So this particular question that Saket Sarkar is asking. Hi Saket, you have posed a question which is not typically related to geriatric population, but I'll just read it out for the viewers to understand. That Saket says that while buying necessities, some people don't adhere to distancing rule. So is sanitizing my hands after every errand that I run outside the house is enough? So I think the answer to this question would be, if you observe social distancing. Those who have joined late, let me reintroduce our panel once again to you. We have Dr. Kenny, who is an intensivist and critical care expert, as well as a pulmonologist, a renowned pulmonologist. Dr. Damle sir, he is a high risk expert in terms of obstetric and gynecologist cases, well regarded in the community, and MD of Aster Aadhar Hospital. We have Dr. Mahajan, who is intensivist, as well as she is a specialized, she has a special fellowship in geriatric care. So while this panel has enlightened us on many questions, we are flooded with questions. So Saket, observing social distancing, like Dr. Kenny said some time back, would be just enough. And coming back and doing proper hand sanitization for 20 seconds may not necessarily be with sanitizer. A soap and water would also just do fine. So the next question we would like to take is, this is a very, very simple looking question, but has a very great depth in it. So I'll pose this question to all the panelists. We can quickly wrap our heads around this question. That Gautami says that how can I prepare to be at home for extended period of time? For an Indian, it is very difficult to sit at home. People are outside, they're gossiping, corner pe hai, yahan pe ja rahe, wahan pe ja rahe, but people are always outside their homes. People come usually in evening. So how do you manage that psychological stress of being locked down in your home? So I'll leave it open for all the
Yeah,
panelists.
I will start.
With yourself, sir. Like you are not locked down per se, but still.
Yeah, you have to unwind yourself. You start doing exercises, healthy food, and everything. Go on keeping cleaning and disinfecting your surroundings. Remain connected to your family, your friends, and your colleagues by phone or email. You can bring out the things inside you which has not come over the years. Like if you are having a hobby of singing or painting and anything, you can bring it out. You can read different books, and you can plan your next 1 or 2 months so that you can your stress will be relieved. You should be relaxed. Another thing, don't go on watching the TVs and WhatsApp every time. To take break from that, because everywhere the knowledge, the information, and nothing else is shown on the TV. So don't get frightened up. Don't get bored with that. Take a break. Stop those things. Look around and see what you can enjoy in your family. Spend some time with family. Go on reading books and bring out that something which has not got the time in your life before.
Yes.
Fantastic answer.
I would say, like, it is introspection and application to manage some of the bucket list. In your bucket list can be few good books. You cannot read at a stretch. Try to read them. Few of the good movies. Rather than continuously watching WhatsApp University for varied views and biased views regarding anything, you can try to learn. Few valid informations are provided by WHO, by few of the Indian government sites, and please rely only on them. Continuously watching bad news is not good. Keep positive attitude amongst yourself and build it in your family. Simply speaking, this shall also pass, and there will be world which is beautiful, and we have to live fit to enjoy that beautiful world.
Yes,
Well said,
as
sir.
rightly
Very well
said,
said.
yes. Yes, yes. Because I can understand that everybody is under stress. There is fear, anxiety. Along with that, there is depression, frustration. So all these negative feelings, they are creating more and more panic situations. So in that situation, as sir has rightly said, you have to rearrange, unwind yourself. First thing is strictly you follow your routine. Means as if you are going outside or you are working, as if that you should take proper rest. You should take food at right time and be fresh, get well dressed, and be connected. To keep distance means it doesn't mean that you should get disconnected with people. There are ample of media which are with which you can remain connected with your loved ones. Means you can chat, you can have video calls and be with them. So and have a positive attitude and don't feel shy in sharing your negative feelings with your loved ones.
Correct.
Open up.
Our Honorable PM Sir said in simple words, you may be socially disconnected but remain emotionally connected.
And this was very well said. So there are many questions which we have at this moment, and we are trying to answer most of them as much as we can. But we will try to get the most common question first and answer some of your questions like food and then immunity and exercises later at the last part of the session. So there is a very serious question into this forum. But before that, there has been a request to ask the questions in Marathi. But as we would love to pose that this is a global event where this is being watched around the world. So any regional language would not be understood by rest of the world. So we are trying to keep it in English and Hindi. So there was a question that can elders go out for a walk to get some sunshine? I think there is enough awareness about this, that there is absolute quarantine that has been suggested in for a couple of coming weeks. What's your take on that, sir?
You can go out in your surroundings only, not on the road. Don't go to the groups of morning walkers. So you can walk around in your vicinity only.
And how long? There is a question that Dr. Bala has been asking, Bala Bhaskar Rao. Hi, doctor. It's a very good question. That how long should we practice social distancing? Or so may it happen that we are so used in this corona phase of social distancing, then we forgot our normal distance.
So many models have predicted that how this kind of social distancing will be useful in flattening the curve. What they say in technical terms is avoiding peak of the number of the disease patient suddenly. Now in what way it happens, whether it should be 14 days, whether it should be 21 days, now all these things depend upon how the number of new cases, number of new critical cases, number of fully recovered cases is seen and is on a better side. There cannot be a firm standard answer that this should be only 2 weeks, then no. No, it depends upon how the disease evolves, and accordingly the administrators will take the decisions with sound scientific advice.
Actually, we are not just with the panelists here. There are some questions which has made us realize that there are some very well-read people in the community who have a very good take on this particular situation. So this is not a question. So this is a statement written by Mr. Altaf Kinara. What he says is that it is quite worrying that few of the grocery or supermarket refuses entry unless a face mask is worn. This is contrary to the WHO instruction that you only need to wear a mask if you are taking care of a person with suspect NCOV infection, or you yourself are having one in terms of like cough or sneezing. So Altaf, this statement is quite correct in itself. So moving, doctor, I have a very good question for you. That Mr. Bhishma Kalvecharla says that what precautions elders should take who have specific health conditions like hypertension.
Okay. So first thing is prevention, and second thing is if you come across this infection or your some relative are in contact with some infected person. So prevention is the, as we have repeatedly said, that keep distance. You avoid you avoid to get mixing up with the other persons. Stay at home. Avoid unnecessary travels. So that will be the preventive steps. And if you have come across or you are suspected to have this infected person, in that situation you have to go according to the steps which are repeatedly said, that get yourself, try to make yourself fit, have good food, good rest, proper medication, and control your blood pressure or sugar. That means whatever medicines you have, take regularly, have stock, and if you can at home check the sugar and blood pressure, do it. Anything else means do exercise which you are used to do.
Correct. Nothing new.
Nothing new.
Nothing
Don't
new.
take
And
accessory.
Most important is take your medications properly. No
This is a lockdown.
shortcut
You are
to
not
it.
exempted.
No shortcut to it.
I would
Take
like to add
medication.
something. See, there is a chance that because of the fear and anxiety and because of the less sleep, your hypertension, blood pressure is going to rise. So your fear and anxiety should be relieved. So you have to do all those things, yoga and all these things, to relieve your anxiety and stress. You should have a nice, more than 6 hours sleep. If you can sleep 8-9 hours, it is okay. If you are not going to go for the office for next 1 or 2 months, take proper sleep. Another thing, about the HCQS, hydroxychloroquine.
Hydroxychloroquine.
That has got a very small chance of having interaction or having a side effect of related to the heart. So if you are taking blood pressure tablets and if you are taking hydroxychloroquine, you consult your doctor so that you have to take precautions and you should not have any problem with the heart.
One more thing I would like to add. If it is there is a fear in your mind, as there is ample of time,
Correct.
give time to think that so many negative things are happening. At least 4 positive points you should write down. That although there are so many things, but I am living with my families, or although I cannot go outside, but there are the technique has been developed so much that I can see anything, means media are there, I can chat with my loved ones, I can access anything, I can get so many things at home. So like that, at least 3 or 4 positive points write down. So
That's
that
nice.
will definitely reduce your fear and anxiety.
Actually, this panel has been on multiple good questions. We are on for last 40 minutes, and we for the joiners who have just joined again in the middle, would like to reintroduce our panel to all of you. We have Dr. Ajay Kerry, intensivist, pulmonologist, and Dr. Damle, who is MD of Aster Hospital, a very skilled obstetrician and gynecologist. And we have Dr. Mahajan, who is an intensivist, and she has a special PG in geriatric care. So there are many questions which we have answered so far, and preliminary we have kept the show just as a live interaction with our viewers through Aster Volunteer platform, that Aster stands by people in this time of crisis. That COVID-19 is just another disease, Corona is just another virus, we are going to fight it out. So there are some questions which are very interesting question. There is a question posed by a doctor. Doctor has said that if he is a senior and he is a doctor, he has to perform the duty of being a doctor in this time, but he is a general practitioner. What special care he should take to practice hereafter in this outbreak?
There are certain guidelines given by some governments, not Indian government, that the practitioner, general practitioners who are above, say, about 65 to 70 years, as far as possible, they should stay home. They should not continue with the general
To practice.
Yeah. If they are having comorbid conditions, again, the same rule applies, that they should not go out of their home, because you never know which patient will come and give you this virus during your OPD hours. If you are going to continue your general practice because you feel that you are fit, then you have to take precautions. Now, in OPD, you can use simple mask, and another thing is you have to wash your hands as frequently as possible. You can wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds, or if you can utilize the hand sanitizers, it has to be rubbed till it gets dry. So as far as possible, you keep social distance with patients also. During examination, it is okay, but if the patient is coughing, you have to ask him to turn his head and cough to the different side, or you can ask the people who are coming with cough to wear the mask. These simple precautions you can take if you are going to continue with your practice, but as far as possible, stay at home.
So best advice you can hear. I think there has been a problem for people to understand that staying at home is absolutely easy. There is nothing you need to do special. You just have to stay home. So there is a question that I think this doesn't require a lot of debate, but I heard there is a shortage of paracetamol coming. No, there is no such shortage because it falls under essential services. All essential services has been pronounced available all throughout the time. I'm sure everyone would have the same view on it.
Paracetamol is available.
It's available, so do not worry. Don't try to take all paracetamol, go back home. Just relax. It's there. It's available. So Harpal Singh Walia साहब ने पूछा है कि are people who are suffering from asthma are more vulnerable to coronavirus? I think as a pulmonologist, this should be your
Yeah,
question.
any chronic pulmonary condition, they are vulnerable for this coronavirus infection. They should stay at home. They should take their medicines regularly. If they have any complaints, fever, cough, or increase in shortness of breath, they should consult their doctors. If doctor says, you can visit his hospital and get investigated and proper treatment. But they should be looked after by their family members very, very carefully.
Actually, there is a very good question again coming, which is not typically a clinical question, but I would like to answer this question on behalf of the panel and on behalf of the Aster Network. So this question comes from Ratna Nidmolu. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, but the question is very good. Could you please suggest on telephonic communication with elders who reside at some other places? So I would like to iterate this fact that Aster as a network have taken an initiative called teleconsultation and teletriage for COVID patient. So anybody who is a senior and who feels that they have symptom, they can just simply log on to Aster DM Healthcare. They will find all the hospitals in India. They go on to any hospital's website which is nearby to them, and then click on the banner which says consult for video consultation, and you will have a 24/7 consultation for COVID-like symptoms. So you need not worry on this particular aspect. So doctors are available on video consultation. So do not panic on that. So if you have any emergency, all the hospitals defined by the civil government authorities are functional. So moving to the next question is that Mr. Paul Matthew asked. Paul, this is a very good question. That I would like to ask this question to Dr. Mahajan. That is visiting the hospital risky at this time? At this time, we have answered this question in some way or other in this conversation, but I think we can hear one more perspective.
Yes, it can be risky at this time, but it will depend upon what symptoms you are having. If your symptoms are mild and with telephonic consultation, if you can get over this, then why do you want to take risk? Especially in the elderly people. But if you are having the warning signs, as Kenny sir has said, that there is shortness of breath, tightness in chest, there is a bluish discoloration, then in that situation you have to go to the hospital.
So that means, in nutshell, she wants to say that only cases of emergency should visit the hospital. So just to bring in something that Dr. Damle sir had mentioned some time back, that yes, this is a tough time. Yes, this is a panic situation which nobody in the world has seen it before. But just to give you a stat which we pulled out at around 5 p.m. is that India at this moment has seen 1,071 cases, and in which new cases today are 47. We have 29 deaths so far. New deaths that happened across India today are only 2, and now total recovered 100. So now I come to you, sir, with this question, which is not questioned here, but I have this question. So is there a hope in this, that there are very few cases who are going into death, and there are recovery rates have been high across the globe? What would you say about it?
Yes, there is definite hope. If you can see the figures across the world, there are few countries which are controlling this disease very nicely. Take example of South Korea. They have done it very nicely, and recoveries are number of recovering patients are very good, and the severe forms of this illness is very short, very small group of people with comorbid conditions and elderly population will have a high number of deaths. But otherwise, the disease is quite mild. Only problem with this disease is it is spreading very fast. It is affecting many people across the globe, and if people are not taking proper precautions like hand washing, social distancing, and staying at home, this is going to go to spread very fast. So if you ask me hope, yes, we are very much hopeful, because we have done it before also. Previous SARS was also controlled. Now swine flu is also controlled. There are so many other infectious diseases, viral diseases and non-viral diseases also. They were controlled in the history of world. So we are going to conquer this viral disease also.
Yes, you are asking about hope. Hope also lies in detecting the disease fast. The world is worried about economy, standstill of businesses. Now, we know one risk population, that is elderly people or having comorbidity. They need to be separated.
Correct.
Second thing is people who are diseased. If we can identify diseased people and separate them and quarantine them, if these two populations are separated, rest of the world can join the productive work, industrial output and everything. So most important is identify people at risk, separate them, identify people who are diseased and keep quarantine with all the sincerity and identify them at fastest.
That is a really positive take on it.
Another thing I would like to add, the vaccines are developing and even some drugs are in phase 3 trials. So in coming few weeks or months, we will have these drugs and vaccines available so that it can control the spread of the disease.
Touch wood and God's grace. So I think Mr. Ratna got confused. I think he couldn't phrase his question right. So hey, I'm reading your question out again. So even if I spell it wrong, just feel free to write it again to us. So what he has written again is that I request general tips on how to communicate with elders over phone daily who stay away from us. I would like to add one bit to this question, a prologue. When the lockdown was declared, now we are in a lockdown where the district borders are sealed in the entire country. Suppose if my parents are away, which my parents actually are, so how do I communicate with them? Because they also have not seen something like this before. So I think this question can be answered by everyone in quick 1-2 lines.
The parents must be looked upon sincerely.
True.
You talk to them every day. You remind them not to get out of the house. You remind them about proper medication. You remind them about common symptoms and when to talk to doctor.
Correct.
And keep communicating with them. Keep positive attitude and positive energy among them. Try for it.
I will add, you can use video calls.
Fantastic. That's what we are actually.
Yeah, Skypes and even WhatsApp video calls you can do every day. They are available. You can talk as if you are sitting in front of them. Another thing is if they are away from you, you can ask them to remain in contact with the local government authorities, local hospitals, local doctors, or your relatives in that particular area. They should remain connected with those people. Because if anything happens, if they want any emergency care, they can contact these people. So the phone numbers and all other details should be available with them.
Correct, yes. A very valid point. Ma'am, I think there is.
And one more thing I would like to add. It's not necessary that you should call them every day. You can call them 3 times in a day.
Correct, yeah.
And
So
you
it's time
can-
to get in touch with your parents. Guys, those who are asking questions, call your mom right away.
When you get up, when you are taking tea, you call them, see, we are taking tea, what you are doing, we are
Correct.
taking tea and breakfast together. Like that, you can be a family as if we are at the same place.
So it's
So
coming
this will
from a
add-
doctor as well as a mother. It's a combination of both
Of
visiting
course,
and
my son
Virtual
calls me
Virtual
3
one.
times, 3 times in a day.
So actually, here is the question. I think this question can be answered by you, ma'am. That Mr. Bala Bhaskar Rao has asked a question which is very right at this moment. He said that is it all right to get flu and pneumococcal vaccination during this pandemic time? Those who are not yet vaccinated. Once
No,
again, it will involve
huh.
coming back to the hospital.
Yes, actually they advise influenza vaccine and pneumococcal vaccine for elderly people. But I think at this era of pandemic, in this season, I will not advise them to take this vaccine at present.
Actually, Mr. Rao, vaccinations are taken should be taken during
At
normal
normal.
times. This is a time of a crisis where you and your parents must stay home. Your parents especially should stay home, and only in cases of emergency, we once again reiterate, only emergencies need to be addressed in the hospital. So there is a question from Vikram stating that if I get sick these days and I realized the symptoms are very similar to corona, which is like sore throat, fever, and cough. Then what first step should I take? As a layman, this question now sounds very apt for the forum. As the
First thing you have to do is don't get worried and don't get panicky.
Correct.
You should be. I have told about the warning symptoms. If you are not having any warning symptoms, there is nothing to worry. You can contact your local doctors and get few medicines which can be taken for this flu or cold, like antihistaminics and paracetamol, and drink lots of water. Take rest. Rest is the most important. You can have different types of fruits and healthy food, and don't exert yourself. Don't get stressed. Any viral infection, including this coronavirus also, should get cured within 1 week, or this corona they are saying at least in 14 days. So if your illness is in mild form, nothing to worry, because there is no medicine which doctor can give you if you go to the hospital. It is all symptomatic and supportive treatment.
Correct.
If there are warning signs and symptoms, then and then only contact your doctor and go to the hospital.
There is one more question coming up, and we have questions being asked very, very frequently. We are flooded with questions. We have a paucity of time, so we are into last 10 minutes of our live telecast. So this question is from Mr. Matthew. He's asking that now we say that wash your hands regularly. Wash your hands regularly. So his question is, if I'm quarantined in my home, and if my elderlies are also at my home, so young population versus older population, how often, exactly how many times in a day they should be washing the hands? Any special takes on this?
See, as many times as possible you can wash your hands. Now suppose you are not coming in contact with anything from the outside, then minimum, at least before preparing the food, after going to the restrooms, or if you are going to your parents and before touching them and after touching them, because we never know whether we are also carrying this coronavirus. It is seen that asymptomatic individuals who are not having any symptom at all, they are also carriers of this coronavirus. Because if you have gone to some place in the morning to buy a grocery, and there you might have got those corona in your body, and if you come home and if you are touching your parents, then that is not good. So as many times whenever you are touching your parents, wash your hand first, after going to the restroom, before preparing food, or you go on cleaning the surroundings where your parents are there. So there is no limit for hand washing. You can wash your hand as many times as you feel, because you have to consider that suppose there is I am touched somewhere. Now I can give one more example. If you have got a courier or something coming from parcel coming from the outside, that can also bring the coronavirus to your home. So after touching that parcel or courier, you have to wash your hands. You can clean that parcel. If you are getting some metal things, you can wash it with soap and water. So consider that from anywhere that virus may come, and when you are touching that particular thing and you are touching to the other people of your home, you have to wash your hands.
I think we are into last, as I said, 7 to 8 minutes of this live discussion on our Facebook Live, brought to you by Aster Volunteers and Aster Other Hospitals. So just to remind you again who our panelists are: Dr. Ajay Kenny is a pulmonologist and intensive care expert. Dr. Ullas Damle is MD of Aster Other Hospital as well as an obstetrician and gynecologist. And Dr. Mahajan, who is an intensive care expert, as well as she has a special fellowship in geriatric care. So I think we are into last fag end of this particular communication. But I would like to reiterate a fact that there is a question posed by Mr. Walia. This is not a question. I think he's worried on an aspect, and I would like to take this question. I have read this, I have understood this, and I would love to add my comment to it. See, the fact was, I'm really worried about the mortality rate. If you look at Maharashtra, it's as close as 5%, which is almost 100% more than a number released by WHO. So I want to just share a fact, Mr. Walia. If you stay updated, you're going to get the new numbers very, very soon. But here is the take. there is no remedy than social distancing, staying at home, and observing basic hand and respiratory hygiene. By respiratory hygiene, we means we cough, we sneeze, we cover our mouth. So if we follow these only 3 to 4 basic methods and don't look at statistic way too much, they're just gonna be there. As they say, the one thing that goes up has to come down. So what we are observing in this particular week in India as well as in Maharashtra, we are trying to flatten the curve or take a dip in the curve of infected people. India, and as a common man, I would like to bring this knowledge to the table that we used to beat our authorities with our social misuse of communication, that authorities are not working. We have not seen, many doctors have not suggested that they have not seen government officials working as rapidly as they are working in this situation. Everybody is fighting. So what a part you need to play as a soldier is to stay home, Mr. Walia. So the question that is, now we have in last 2 to 3 questions that we can take. Now this question comes from our region. The question is, what about the people who are farmers? As well as people who are elderly but above 50 who are still going into farm, have an active lifestyle, can they do their farm works at this moment?
Difficult to answer this question because it depends upon which locality they are residing. If they are not remaining in the crowded places, if they are not visiting any other people in that particular village, and if they are continuing their farm activities, I think there is no worry that they will acquire this infection. They can continue in the farms. But if they are going and meeting other people in the village and then going to the farm, that is not good. There is also lots of people seen going back to their villages from the metro cities. There is a possibility that these people will bring that coronavirus in that particular village. Then that is a worrying thing. So as far as possible, it is better to stay at home, and if you are not connected, if you are keeping social distancing, I think farming can be continued.
Coming back to some questions, so I'll ask this question to Damle sir. The question is, for an example, hospital as a setup always sees two kinds of surgeries. One that is done electively, one that has to be done in emergencies. So an elective surgery like total knee replacement, where somebody has extreme pain in the knees, a severe osteoarthritis, and he was scheduled to go for an surgery in the next week or so. Similarly, there are some elective surgeries which can be postponed and which needs to be done. So this is a very delicate question. So what is your take on this, sir?
Simple answer cannot be there, but see, we have to do all emergency work. Your doctor certainly understands more what is an emergency is for you.
Correct.
The elective procedure, if it can be tackled at a later date in an efficient manner, which will not cause any concern or any more danger to you in visiting hospital frequently with your attendant, and which will not endanger your life within next month, better avoid it. So ask your doctor, he knows which thing has to be done now and which thing can be postponed.
Coming to a last question of the session, we are almost through 1 hour. So we will summarize the session with last 2 questions. The question which is very apt for the last few questions is asked by, once again, Paul. Paul is asking that can you, and I would love to ask this question to everyone in 1 to 2 lines quickly, we will summarize that can you share a few tips to remain positive these days? So this is the question for your life, Paul.
It, but there are few tips.
1 or 2 tips, ma'am.
Yes. Stick to your daily routine. Try to be relaxed and happy. Have, if you are on some medication and everything, have a stock of that medicine. Good food, proper adequate sleep, and no disconnection. Be with your loved ones.
Correct.
and if possible do respiratory exercises also, means deep breathing exercises. That's all.
What do you say, sir? How can
And
we stay
don't be
positive?
panicky. Don't be panicky.
Read something good and do remember and do reiterate to you again and again. This shall also pass.
This
The
shall
world is beautiful.
Wonderful. I
Yeah,
have
I-
always seen Dr. Damle as somebody who is a reader. His office is filled with good books. He always walks with his Kindle on. So read. This is the time. What do you say, sir?
Yeah, social distancing, wash your hands. And one more thing I probably we have not discussed in our discussion. Listen to government authorities.
Very well said.
Don't bring your egos or your knowledge and go on contradicting what the government is saying.
This is not a cricket match. Yes.
They are doing good thing for us. Listen to them and follow their instructions.
And so, while we close this session, I think Gautami has asked a question which we cannot ignore. This is the last question of the session. We are past 1 hour, but we are entertaining this question as this is very extremely important question. I'll ask this question to you, Kenny sir. Gautami, hello. Thank you very much for joining us. The question will be answered by Dr. Kenny. He is an intensivist, pulmonologist, and a gifted speaker. So, question is, what can we say about people who get the virus and recover? Do they get the immunity against the virus? And should we stay away from them? There are people who are discharged from various locations. What is your take, sir?
Definitely they will get immunity. As this is a novel virus, we don't know what is going to happen in future. But as the history says that once you get the immunity, unless the virus changes its antigenicity, you will have this immunity lifelong. We don't know whether all the community can have this immunity, which is called as herd immunity. If that herd immunity comes, don't worry that this virus is not going to trouble you. And those who are recovered from the illness, it is said that after 14 days, they don't spread the virus to anybody. But some reports are there that they can go on spreading after 1 or 2 more weeks. So they should also stay at home after recovering. They should not also mix with the people. And say about after 1 month or so, they can be a normal people.
Anything that you want to add, sir?
Yeah. Antibody testing is now happening. And it can happen with few more invention, some more intensive research work which is going on. So if a person has produced enough antibody and he is not spreading virus, his viral tests are negative now, this person can go back in the production line and he can mix. If more and more people get their own antibodies inside, we have conquered the disease.
Any more closing thoughts, doctor?
No, don't be panicking. As we are on right track.
Fantastic. So as the panel here, we would panel here has elaborated all the questions that we have seen today. I think this is the first time we have answered all the questions that had ever been posed to us in live session. So we're thankful. Saket, we cannot take the question, but panic managing is something that you are asking. I would love to say one thing. Saket is just about staying calm and keeping your heads on your shoulder. It's all about own thinking. What is our thinking does not matter at this moment. What government is telling us, every media, regional, global, national, every media is telling us to follow only 2 to 3 things. Stay home, wash your hands, keep your respiratory hygiene okay. And for all the elderlies for whom we are doing this program, we want to tell you that no, we will ensure that nothing happens to you. To all the young guys who are doing it for their older parents, please ensure that whenever you go out only for essentials. This is not a time to go out and test the crusade. And just to close this session, we would like to say one thing, that Aster Volunteers has always been a torchbearer of hope in the world. May it be a Kerala flood or Kolhapur flood, all the volunteers have joined together, hands together, and fought against all the odds that ever been posed by the world. So this is the testing time. Astro Volunteer stands by you. This webinar is part of this effort that yes, we are away. Yes, we have a social distancing, but yes, we can. So we thank all the panelists for being here.
Thank you.
We thank all
Thank
our
you.
viewers, and be home, stay safe. Thank you very much.